Welcome to Soul Rising. We're your hosts, Amy and Erin. We're two everyday mediums who are passionate about taking the woo-woo out of spirituality and bringing it down to earth. So put the kettle on, grab a chair, and join us.
Welcome
Hey.
back.
Hello.
Here we go, Amy, episode 49.
49.
Almost at 50.
Yep.
At 50.
Yeah.
We thought that we would kind of continue on with spooky season a little bit. But again, it's always spooky season for us. I mean, at least for me. I still love to watch a good scary movie. Doesn't matter when. And we're going to talk about ghosts. Okay.
Goats.
Specifically, a haunting here in Canada. I'm going to talk about a haunting in Canada. And I thought this was a good one because Amy will be a bit familiar with it. It is in Kingston. Okay.
Okay. Where I live.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I thought maybe we could kind of like, before we get into it, we could kind of talk a little bit maybe about what do you think ghosts are? And what do you think a haunting actually is? Actually, I should frame it this way. Is a place actually haunted?
Do you want my honest answer?
Yes,
Of course.
Yes, everybody in their car, everybody listening is like, yes.
And please, there is room for everybody's opinion, because one person feels one way does not mean it is the absolute truth of all truths, right?
No.
This can be controversial, right? Like, we've talked about this before, and I think we got into a little bit of other people going, I don't know. Like, some people agreed with us, some people did not, right?
Yeah.
So I think it can become controversial. From my perspective, as an evidential medium, and you are an evidential medium too, we both have years and years of experience. For me, ghosts are spirits. Okay, so when somebody says a ghost to me, I'm like, okay, that's a spirit. That distinction is important for me, because when I think of ghost, I think of the white sheet, something, we're going to some, abandoned hospital, and there's spooky ghosts there, and they're going to come after us, and they have, they're maybe seen in a negative way. There's fear associated with the term ghost for me. Now, if you are somebody that thinks, no, when I think of ghost, I can think of a friendly ghost like Casper. I just think of spirits too. Maybe that's somebody else's opinion. That's fine. But for me, my distinction is ghost has for me this connotation of spooky, fear.
Yeah.
It's not for me. I can say, yeah, I believe in ghosts, but for me, they're spirit. So that's the first thing I'll say. Second thing, do I believe a place can be haunted? I believe yes, but not because spirits are out to get us.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, this is how I view it. Energy, everything's energy, right? Our feelings, our thoughts, everything's energy. So if, say, there is this home and somebody's been killed in it long time ago, and obviously that act would have been harmful, there's fear, there's anxiety, there's pain, there's all of that kind of emotion in that place where that thing happened. I believe that energy can imprint in that place. And then, obviously people would know about this. So maybe the next person's like, oh my God, that place, there's somebody died in there. And, right. And then over and over and over and over and over again, it imprints over and over. The fear imprints over and over again, to the point where now you're like, okay, let's go to wherever it is. Are you going to talk about Fort Henry? Okay.
Yeah.
Fort Henry's down the road from me, okay? Fort Henry is down the road from me. People will go there, and it's like, oh my God, it feels scary in here. I can feel the energy. The veil is thin, right?
Yes.
Because we've been told that it's scary. Do I believe that there are spirits that may frequent that place? Sure. The imprint of them, the imprint of the situation. Do I believe that they're haunting us? No. I think haunting is the fear. I don't know. Do you agree?
Yeah, I definitely
I don't think
agree.
they want to harm us.
No, I don't think so either. And I know people have had their own experiences, and I do not, by
We
any
don't want
means,
to discredit you.
Yes.
No.
Not at all, please. Like, Your experience is your experience. I believe
Valid.
you, yeah, had that experience.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
do I believe that everybody over on the other side is honky dory? No.
No.
I think they're still working through their stuff. Like we we are here, right? I think I believe that.
Yeah.
So if maybe what you experienced was negative, it really could just be a shitty ghost, like a shitty person. Okay. Um, there's part of that, and then I do definitely believe, Amy, with what you're saying, is that fear can create energy.
That's right.
There was a case that's called, actually, here in Toronto at the University of Toronto,
Yep.
and I think we talked about it on the podcast.
Yep.
um it's funny because I remember learning about it. I remember bringing it up in high school to my teachers around this time, because we were talking about ghosts and stuff. But it was called the Philip experiment.
Yes.
Okay. And what they found was they basically put all this information out there. A group of parapsychologists. Okay, so parapsychologists study the thing that which we cannot explain,
Yes.
like paranormal phenomenon, which I wanted to be when I was little. I wanted to be a parapsychologist, but that's also
Yes.
a fun fact.
Mhm.
But they basically put all of this information out, and they said, I want, he was from the war. He's a man. His name's Philip. He's this old. They gave it very, very detailed. And they actually ended up getting responses from this energy that they created.
Right.
So I feel like there we go. We have like thought creates, and I feel like if more people visit a place and it's like, oh, this is evil, this is dark, and everybody is putting that energy
That in there.
into that space, yeah, you're not going to get good things.
You're going to feel it.
You're going to feel it, right? So I definitely believe that.
And I think that we can blend things too. Like, say, like, I know that you, was it this time last year? I don't remember when it was. You went to Casa Loma. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was around the holidays.
Around Christmas?
Christmas,
was it?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Just to kind of do that paranormal investigation, right? Like,
Yes.
do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I could talk about it. I could talk about it. Okay, so this was actually really cool, okay? Because what made it cool was, one, and if you go back and listen to past episodes, you'll hear me talk about Sam. Okay, the name Sam. That I was hearing this name everywhere, and I thought it was a guide. Very well could still be, okay? But I was hearing that name everywhere. I was seeing it. And then all of a sudden, I'm on YouTube, and one video leads me to another video, which leads me to this YouTube channel, which is very popular, Sam and Colby. Okay, and I was like, oh, there's that name Sam again. And I'm like watching their video, and I'm like, oh, I want to be that medium. I want to be that medium that I've always wanted to. Goes on these like paranormal investigations and just see what I get. I've always wanted to do that, and I said, Spirit, please, I'm putting it out there just once. Just once. I just want to have it. I want it to happen. I'm not kidding you, okay? Probably 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Because it was so close, right?
Yeah, so close. Yeah.
I get a message, and I'm at my friend's house. So, Katya, if you're listening, you can attest to this. But I get an Instagram DM from the producer, one of their producers, I think, from Sam and Colby, this YouTube channel, saying, we're wondering if you could come and help us out on an investigation. I know it's last minute. Obviously, we're looking for a medium.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, there's no way this is real. Like, I was so close to deleting it. I think I even messaged you, Amy, and I was like, is this real?
Yeah. Yeah.
I literally almost deleted, because I was like, because we get DMs sometimes, and it's like, we want, it's all junk and spam.
Yeah. Spam. Yeah.
And I ended up like talking back and forth with this guy, and I said, okay, like, let's set up a phone call conversation. I want to make sure like I'm the right fit for you. And I literally said to him, I was like, I'm not going to be that medium that comes on like on Ghost Adventures and says there's a demon in this place. That's not me. It's not how I work.
Yep.
It's not the energy that I work with. And so, long story short, I got to go on, and I was like, like, I was even in the car with Alex. I'm like, I won't believe this is real until I see their faces. I see their faces. And I had no idea who I was with. I was with Selena, who was she's known as the TikTok Selena Spooky Boo. She's a sleepwalker girl.
She's like she's TikTok and Insta famous.
Yeah, she's TikTok
Yeah.
Insta famous.
Yeah.
And then I was also with Katrina, I think. And I'm so sorry, I forget your last name. She's a singer. I think they live in I don't know where they live. Vegas, somewhere in California. I have no idea. But anyways,
Okay.
I was with these people. It was a blast. I did have a lot of fun. Um, if you watch the video, they will say there is something negative. I didn't get that at all. I'll
Yeah.
just be honest.
You picked up on a personality of somebody, right?
Yeah, I was picking up
Yeah.
on just like the people that were there. I was picking up on a personality. I was picking up on the woman of the house. I was picking up on a maid who I was like, man, I better be good because this girl is watching me like a hawk. I felt like I have to, it's like you're in somebody else's home. I have to be on my best behavior. That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
And I felt like the lady of the house was there, and I felt like she was like kind of not happy with some of where some of the stuff was.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. It was cool. And I remember like feeling different things. And I described oh god, see, I don't even know any of this. I can't remember. But the guy who owned the home, I don't remember his name. Philip something.
Yeah, that's okay.
I don't know. But I described him. I had no idea what he looked like, and I remember seeing like his hair kind of really parted. And lo and behold, we go in and you can see pictures, and this is who owned the home, and I'm like, that's who's coming through.
Yeah.
So it was really, really cool. I loved it. What they experienced could be, maybe there is something to that. Maybe, people coming in, and again, we talked about this. Energy creates energy. I more or less just got the sense that they were like, this is still our home and y'all better, acknowledge it.
Yeah. Have some respect.
Have some respect. Yeah. But it was great. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Yes. So that was my experience. Cool. I still want to go on. I want to do more. Like, I wish I have got to like do the investigation part. I really, really want to do that. So it's still on my bucket list. So if anybody's listening, and maybe Amy, if I come to Kingston, maybe we can do it at Fort Henry.
Well, we have a thing anyways, like a little dream that we want to like travel, somewhere in maybe local Ontario somewhere and go in and record us.
Yes.
Picking up on the energy at different places and like, what do we get? I think that'd be really cool.
I think so too. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Okay, so sorry.
I was just gonna say, I just dawned it. Like a lot of our work, if not all of our work, is virtual. So like one of us could take the other one.
It's true.
On their phone, like FaceTiming along to someplace local, and both could read the energy.
That's true. We could record it.
So
it could be a whole podcast.
We don't have to stop ourselves just because we're not together in future.
It's true. But I will say, I will happily come and take the train down to Kingston. It's a very short ride, and I would love to be there.
Yeah.
So
I
think we have to.
Yeah.
And actually, there is some accounts of the place that I'm getting married, and of some spookiness. It's not on their website. I don't think they disclose it, and I'm not going to say it on air just in case. But there is some record of like paranormal activity, which I'm stoked about, because y'all know I want to get married in a place that's considered haunted, quote unquote. And I also love, Amy, that you brought up that things can kind of carry the energy, because we'll talk a little bit about that too as we go into the story. Okay, final thoughts, Amy, before I dive in?
I'm good. I want to hear your I want to hear your story.
Okay, so yes, we are talking about the famous Fort Henry, which is located in Kingston, Ontario. And actually, Sam and Colby, shout out, they also did a YouTube episode on there with Selena as well. And Katrina. I think Katrina is Sam's girlfriend, so I'll just give them a shout out. You can go and check out that episode and the Casaloma episode on YouTube if you wanted to take a look. Actually, okay, I'm sorry. I'm so off topic, but I was talking to somebody who comes to see me for readings, and she was like, and like, I had no idea you did this, but I literally went down a rabbit hole of YouTube videos, and I found your video that you were on for that YouTube series. So that was cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So the
Awesome.
story of Fort Henry, and something that I did not know, but the original fort. So I got all this information just for people wondering from the Fort Henry website and from Wikipedia as well, and from the Canadian Encyclopedia. The story of Fort Henry was that it was built on Point Henry in Kingston, Ontario during the War of 1812. We were fighting with Great Britain as Canada's a British colony against the US. During the war, the British believed that there would be an attack on Point Henry, which is close to the naval dockyards, which is now known as the Royal Military College. And I think Amy, Scott, not to put you on the spot, but Scott has ties as well to this because Scott has a military background, right?
That is in the he's an
He's in the
acting
military.
service member in the
Okay,
military.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's in the Navy. So he doesn't work at the Royal Military College of Canada, but it's across the road from where he worked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So I was like, this is going to be fun
It's
because
a
I know
local
there's a
town.
connection there. Yeah. So
Yeah.
because it was so easy for our neighbors across in the U.S., would be easy for them to attack due to the connection at the time to and still is, sorry, to the St. Lawrence River. The fort was built strategically in an effort to block attacks to the Royal Naval Dockyards. And in 1815, the Treaty of Ghent. Oh my gosh, the tree. I
Hard
like,
word.
yeah. Gong.
Yeah, that's okay.
Gong was signed. Sorry, I like had watched YouTube videos too, and I was like, pronounce it right. But of course I don't. Was signed in an effort to bring peace between the countries. However, peace was kind of on and off due to the Aroostook War in 1838 to 39, the Trent Affair 1861, and the Fenian raids in 1866 to 1871. So it sounds like there's a lot of things were up and down, and I think with trades that were going on, the fort was restored in 1813 in the spot that the original fort was built, which I didn't know. I thought that Fort Henry had always just been there and they restored it, but turns out they built a new one in 1832. Yeah, which interesting, especially as we go into the ghost stories as well. So the fort became necessary to build at a time of the completion of the Rideau Canal. So shout out to Ottawa, because it served as a military supply route between Montreal, Ottawa, and Kingston. So it's very important while everything was going on that the fort was there because it meets with the Rideau Canal, St. Lawrence River, and Lake Ontario, which all connects us to the U.S.
That's right. We're very close to the U.S. here, by the way. Like, very close. Yeah.
Like, how far of a drive is it? Is it like a...
So for me, so there's different. So like,
depending
so
on where
if you
go.
think of like where Fort Henry is, like right on, so Kingston is where the St. Lawrence River meets with Lake Ontario. Like literally, it's where it connects. So if you're at where you spoke about Fort Henry, the Royal Military College, that's literally just like downtown almost. Across from that is a big island called Wolf Island, which is the largest island at part of the Thousand Islands, if you've ever heard of the Thousand Islands. So that's Wolf Island. You can see it if you are like, if you're standing on Fort Henry, you can see Wolf Island across. There's a ferry that goes across. From Wolf Island, on the other side of Wolf Island, there's another ferry. I cannot remember the name of it, but it is very close, like a very quick ferry that takes you literally right to New York State. Like it is, you could see it from the other side of Fort Henry, or from the other side of Wolf Island. So it is close by water. It's closer by water, but for us to cross the border by land, you have to drive. I would say it's 40 minutes away. Still not very far, but it's
So the fort was built to defend and protect conflict trading routes, and Fort Henry cost a whopping £70 to build, which today would be 35 million Canadian.
Yeah.
Like, wild. The fort was also used, I found this interesting, the fort was also used as an internment camp, which housed prisoners of war. And actually, Canada was said to have a very large a large number of internment camps, and it said that more than 8,500 people were imprisoned during the First World War, and as many as 24,000 during the Second World War, including 12,000 Japanese Canadians. And these are just the stuff that's documented. So I'm imagining, things that went undocumented and unrecorded, which is wild.
Yeah.
So that's not for Fort Henry itself. Those numbers just Canada as a whole.
Yeah.
So in 1870, the fort was abandoned by the British Army and was garrisoned by Canadian troops until 1981. The fort fell apart in 1936, and in 1936, sorry, I'm trying to get my dates right, and was restored as a museum. It first opened its doors as a museum August 1st, 1938. So that's really cool. So the fort is what we still can see today and can access. It serves as a reminder of the lives which were lost and all who were imprisoned there. Today, Fort Henry has reenactments going on during the summertime. I remember even visiting the fort as a child. And even I went to school at one point there too. The fort.
Stop. In Kingston?
No, sorry. I went on field trips, not school in Kingston. I went on school field trips.
Like, what?
Sorry, mouthful of words, guys. Yeah. Although I have family in Kingston too, so shout out to them. The fort is preserved in a way where you can still see what it would have been like to be a prisoner or be a soldier at that time, and the reenactments definitely help with that. Even when I was a kid and I went there with my family, I remember I was running. I don't know. I was just running. Okay, I was a kid, and I got yelled at by one of the guards. One of the people playing a guard. So I was kind of traumatized from that, but he really yelled at me. And then I have a military background in my family, and so my step grandmother was like, "Thank you so much, soldier." Was like, "We'll keep her in line." And I was like, "Okay, oh shit." But yeah, they also do still. I think they still run cannons. They still do that as part of the reenactments. They'll shoot cannons, which is really cool.
Yeah.
They also, so Fort Henry too has many events going on. They also have a event going on right now, Amy. So
Halloween.
Yeah, are you gonna go?
It's a Halloween. Yeah,
You've been to it?
I've been to it in years. Yeah, and I've also been at Christmas time. They do one as well, and I can't remember what that thing's called, but I've done that.
Is it fun?
Too. Yeah. Yeah, it was fun.
I want to go check it out.
Yeah. Well, if you do, it's literally a 5-minute drive from my house. So let me know, please.
Gosh.
If you come this way. Pumpkin Inferno. Is
it
not called
I have Pumpkin Inferno here.
Yeah. And I've been there multiple times. We've gone Canada Day, fireworks, you go to Fort Henry. But I've also gone in and seen, I don't even know what they called. I've seen the whole reenactment. We've gone to the museum multiple times. We've definitely been there a lot. It's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful.
Huge,
it's on this beautiful hill. Yeah, and you can see downtown Kingston very beautifully from it. It's perfect bird's eye view of it all. It's a lovely place. If you haven't come to Kingston before,
guys, go check it out. Yeah,
please do. And come visit.
You know what? Actually, when I'm reading the history, I'm I want to go back and visit the fort. I haven't been there in so long. Be nice to go back and check it out. And
there's
we can sleep there, Amy. Did you know this?
What? Is there accommodations?
We can.
I didn't know that.
They have it set up like you would sleep back in the day.
I know there's a restaurant in there that you can eat, and there's also I don't know if it's called a convention center, but it's a separate building that's been built after the fact. It's not a part of the original fort. But we've been to the fort before. There's a big parking lot, so you can go up there and park. We're not parking, but we go up there with our tea and watch the sunset sometimes. And especially in the summer, the parking lot will be full because they do weddings and different things. It's just beautiful and stunning. Yeah, it's a lovely place.
I love that.
Yeah. I didn't
you
know
can sleep there. I think they shut it down because of COVID.
Wow.
But so I'm oh man, Amy and I should go have a slumber party there and see what we get.
And we could do like a see if there's anything
Yeah,
around.
wouldn't it be so cool?
Yeah.
Invite a bunch of
Mhm.
people. Whoever is listening, you're welcome to come. Go have a slumber party at a haunted fort.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, really,
Yeah.
really cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think they stopped it because of COVID, but they do that, which I saw on the website, and I was like, okay, cool. And I think actually too, what's really eerie is like I almost did the Ottawa jail, because the Ottawa jail is supposed to be super, super haunted, but you can sleep there. And I think not a lot of people make it through the night, but if you make it through the night, then you sleep there for free. Yeah,
Whoa. If you
if you
make
make
it
it
through
through
the
the
night,
night.
it makes it kind of
Yeah, yeah,
scary.
I know. I mean, I think that's what I've heard. It might have changed since then, but yeah, it's supposed to be super haunted. So, okay. Speaking of haunted,
Wow.
we're going to talk about the ghost stories. We're going to get right into it. But Amy, when you were there, did you feel any presences? Did you feel anything?
No,
No, eh? Yeah.
nothing. But I also wasn't looking for. So you know me, like we've talked about, like it's funny because last episode we talked about
Mm-hmm.
altars, right? And we talked about setting your intention, and this is my altar. So I actually don't. I'm not on
Yeah.
when I go out, like traditionally. I'm not like, okay, I'm open to spirit. But if I say today was like, okay, I'm going to Fort Henry with the intention I want to connect to spirit,
Then
then I probably would have. But I wasn't on because I was going in a social
fair,
capacity. So
fair enough,
no.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even remember too much because it's been so long since I was there. So I haven't also felt anything, but I mean, I might have. I was a kid too, so who knows?
Yeah.
But here are some of the ghost stories about Fort Henry. So people are said to see apparitions. They're also said to hear footsteps. People are also here to see shadow people. There is also one of their predominant ghosts is apparently a little girl spirit who likes to close doors, move things, throw pots and pans, so likes to play tricks on people. She is in the bakery room, I think. That's one spirit that is said to be there. And actually, they're actually like that kind of makes me think of poltergeist. I think they use that word. I also, for this in preparation, it was fun. I got to watch some old um, ghost TV shows that I used to watch back in the day. So, like, I'll talk a little bit
Yeah.
about their experiences. But the TV show, I don't know if you remember it, Amy, but it was called Girly Ghost Hunters. Do you remember it?
No, I don't
It's
remember
cool. You
that.
can watch
No.
this episode with Fort Henry on YouTube. So if people want, you can literally type in Girly Ghost Hunters Fort Henry. It'll come right up. You can see their experiences.
Okay. I'm gonna look it
Um,
up. Yeah.
it's with Dana Newkirk is in that. And if you don't know who Dana Newkirk, she's married to Greg Newkirk. They're really, really cool people. I highly encourage you guys just to check out their stuff. They work around paranormal. Actually, Dana is a self-proclaimed witch. She practices witchcraft.
Yeah.
Works with the elements. Really cool stuff. They have a TV show. I'm just going to give them a quick shout out because I think it's like one of the best TV shows about the paranormal that I have seen. It's called Hellier. It's on Amazon Prime. And I think there's two Hellier,
Hellier. Yeah.
Helier. I think that's how you spell it. It's really
Oh,
cool. It's
Hellier.
like a little documentary on them getting this weird email, being like, let's just film us, follow up on this email, and see where it takes us. And it takes them down a big rabbit hole. It's really, really cool. It can be a lot to process, so take your time to be watching it. But it's cool. So if you're into that stuff, I highly recommend. And you have Amazon Prime, checking it out. There's 2 seasons. I think they're making a new one.
I'll check it out.
Anyway, she was in this TV show, Girly Ghost Hunters. It was a Canadian TV show, so she's Canadian.
Yeah.
And they went to Fort Henry. They did an episode there, just talked about that. But they, what was I going to say? They actually, when they were in there, they heard footsteps. They felt like they were being followed. And it felt like the footsteps were kind of following them as they moved. And when they stopped, the footsteps would stop. So I don't know if there's like something to that, like to like kind of explain those scenarios. Nobody was kind of around them except for their camera crew who was in front of them. But you can kind of hear it in the video too. It's really, really interesting. And I should also say, because when I heard about the little girl that was there, I was like, I didn't know there were kids at Fort Henry. I had no idea. When I looked and did some more research, um, there would be children there because of the early days in the fort in 1867. The British provided free education for children and soldiers. Any soldier who wanted to get an education, um, you could learn there. So they taught classes there, and then in 1870, I think, is when it became more public. So it was people for kids outside of
Okay.
the army. You could come and take classes
Yeah.
there. Yeah, which is really, again, no idea. I was like, why is the child there? But it's because it was also a school. So that's cool.
There's another fort that I've gone to. I cannot remember, the name escapes me in this moment, but it is kind of east of Kingston, along the redo,
Yeah,
St. Lawrence, sorry,
St.
along
Lawrence.
St. Lawrence River, after Brockville, but before Cornwall. Like if you're up
I don't know
towards
what it's
Upper Canada
called.
Village, it's before that. There's a fort that you can go and visit. We went as a family, and we went in and had a tour guide and all that. And there was, I'll have to research it more, but what's coming to memory and why I was bringing this up in the first place is because I remember them talking about families of, the
Yeah,
soldiers being able to literally
yeah,
live there.
and I think that was the same with Fort Henry.
Yeah, yeah,
Was it
yeah. Like they
was it
lived
called Fort
there.
Augustus?
I think maybe, yes, maybe. Because that's also a place called Augusta up in
Okay,
that way, or
okay.
Augustus. Maybe it is. But yeah, if it's along the St. Lawrence River in that general area, then it
Probably is.
probably
Cool. I
is.
just typed in fort by
Yeah.
Cornwall, Ontario, and got Fort
If,
Augustus. It's a windmill fort. Was it a windmill?
mm,
It is by the water. There's
the
water there.
It's Fort Wellington, and it's in Prescott,
Okay, Fort
Ontario.
Wellington. Okay, so there, you guys go. We've got a lot of forts around.
Well, they're all up and down the St. Lawrence,
That
and
would
then
make
also like the
sense.
Redo Canal,
Yeah.
starts in Ottawa, but ends in Kingston. So I also live very close to, my God, the name escapes me. It's literally so close to me.
Cool.
Kingston
Oh,
Mills.
Kingston
I'm sure
Mills.
we've heard of
Yeah.
Kingston Mills, and it's also where that tragedy happened
Yes.
about 10 years
Yes.
ago. Family.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so that's close by too. But yeah, that waterway connects Ottawa to
That
Kingston
makes a
into
lot of
the
sense, actually, why there's a
area.
lot of forts there. Yeah. I mean, I had no idea. And I think a lot of people in the army, they chose the army life because maybe, I don't know if there was much around there, but they didn't want to be left behind. Like that's what I remember reading, and so they would join the army. Um, and I think even some of the young girls married men twice their age. Yeah.
And yeah, I think that happened a lot. Now, I don't know if you found this in any of your research, but did you know that Kingston was the original capital of Canada?
Yes, I feel like I did know that. Yes.
Yeah. The reason it moved to Ottawa was because Kingston was said to be, it wasn't protected enough. It was too close to the
Yeah.
United States, too close to the water. So it
Oh,
was
that's
easy
why.
target. So that's why they moved it.
Didn't know
Yeah,
that.
I thought that was cool.
Okay. Guys, another cool fun
Yeah.
fact. I love this. See, this is so
Yeah.
fun. I love learning about the history. Yeah.
Me
It just
too.
makes me want to go.
Yeah.
It really makes me want to go to Fort Henry now.
You should come this
I
way because
should.
there's actually, I've got it up on my screen. There's a ghost and a mystery trolley here, and there's also like a haunted walk of Kingston where people will take you around. But for the mystery trolley,
I love that mystery trolley.
yeah, it's a red trolley that you can take during tourist season too, to just like go through, major spots in
Man.
Kingston. But so you go like downtown
Yeah.
Kingston, you go to Fort Henry Hill and what's called Dead Man's Bay, which is just on the other side of Fort Henry. You go to the Cataraqui Cemetery and the grave of Sir John A. Macdonald, who was the first Prime Minister of Canada from Kingston, buried here in Kingston. The Rockwood Asylum and the Kingston Penitentiary. So I've been to the
Yes.
Kingston Pen. I've gone for their tour. If you haven't done that, you should do it because they're still doing
I definitely
tours.
should. That's another haunted
You
location
should.
for sure.
Yeah, that's when I don't know if it's the oldest penitentiary in Canada. I feel like it
Maybe,
might
yeah.
be. But it closed, like we moved to Kingston in 2013. And that was the first year that it became, because it was a working penitentiary, like until just a little bit before that. And then that year it became more of a museum. And so we went, it was sponsored by the United Way, and we bought tickets and we went and toured the whole the whole
Wow.
penitentiary, and it was really
Mm.
cool, really cool. The Rockwood Asylum, though, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's down on the water, like a little bit past the downtown core. And it's now, like the location of it has been transformed into a hospital kind of
Okay.
facility, like a healthcare facility, not the main hospitals, but something else. But the Rockwood Asylum was a place where it's said to be very
Yeah.
haunted because it was where many, many people were taken with mental illness
Mm.
or perceived mental illness, hysteria, all of those kind of things that we've
Yeah.
talked about
Yeah. Not
before
surprised.
would be there. Lobotomies,
Oy.
all that kind of stuff
Okay.
happened
Yeah.
there. So that's said to be kind of haunted too. You
I
need
gotta
to
go
come
to
to Kingston.
Kingston. Who is
We got to visit all
Oh
these
my gosh.
places.
You know what's so great too? I was like, for such a sidebar, but for my bachelorette party, I was like, I want to stay in a haunted, I want to stay in a haunted hotel, you guys.
That'd be
And
cool.
some of them are like, the people that, like, my friends are like, you can spend the night. I will not spend.
We'll come party with you and then we'll leave.
Yeah, basically. I'm like, but I want to spend the night, so we go spend the night. So maybe we're gonna go to Kingston for my bachelorette party. And if we do, Amy,
That's
please
so
come.
fun.
Okay. Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
yes, yes, yes. That's so fun.
Okay, so where was I? Okay, so now the fort was rebuilt, but there was never any attack on the fort, apparently. But there were reports of people dying on site, of course, living in the conditions that they did in Fort Henry at that
Yeah.
time, of course, and a misuse of equipment. People would pass away. I think there is also a report of Gunner something. They call him Gunner something, and he misused some of the firearms and actually died in an explosion. And he's said to be around the grounds as well. There are also reports of moaning coming from underground in the tunnels. During the ghost walks, people would experience some of these sounds. Okay. So when the show, Girly Ghost Hunters, when they were there, not only did they hear the footsteps, but they also heard like just creaks, noises. I mean, it is an old place, but they also heard doors closing, seemingly on their own. There was no wind draft, and those doors seem pretty heavy. It's not like, I don't know if you've ever heard of.
Good.
Yeah, and so there's this thing too. It's called like the vacuum. I think a vacuum effect. So sometimes if you're in a space and you open the door, and there's another door in the room, the door will automatically open.
Yeah. That happens in our
Okay.
house all the time. If somebody's got a window
Yeah.
open, yeah.
Right. So it's it
You'll
there,
the
and
other door
that's just
shut.
caused by
Yeah.
just the air circuit. What's happening.
Yeah.
In the environment. So it's one way to kind of explain things, but those doors are super heavy. Super heavy. So they heard that. They also saw, didn't see it, sorry, but when they would hear a noise, they'd go check out that room, and then they would hear another noise. They would hear another noise in the room they just exited out of. So it almost felt like this like cat and mouse energy, like they trickster energy. And a piece of like wood that was standing upright fell over. So who knows? But there's definitely a lot of that. And we talked about this earlier, Amy, with energy imprinting on things. And there's actually this theory about limestone. And I think all of the tunnels are built out of limestone. There's another theory called the stone tape theory, which is basically says the same thing, that it can hold energy, that like stones and some of that energy can also, limestone is also like can cause like high paranormal activity to happen, it's said.
Can I tell you something? Did you know that Kingston is the limestone city? Like that's our slogan.
No, but now it makes so much sense.
It's built on limestone, and actually, like, so there's a lot of the wording limestone is used a lot in Kingston, including the school board is called the Limestone District School Board. It's the limestone city. It's all built up. Like if you're driving like the fort, and as you come down the road to go to the fort, you see the limestone, the sides, the limestone rock as you're driving through.
Yeah, isn't that very cool? I'm not doing my bachelorette here. I'm coming to you, Amy.
Yeah, so there's a lot of hunting stuff too. Like the limestone has an effect. That's very cool.
Yeah, that's what they find. Like parapsychologists,
dive down
definitely,
further.
Parapsychologists find that, like, and like, people to do paranormal investigations, they find that like the energy is just kind of heightened when there's limestone in the area. Yeah. And the
Super cool.
fact that that stone tape theory is out there that basically says that it can hold and carry energy. And so there's different types of hauntings. If you talk to any like paranormal investigators, they'll say that there's an intelligent haunting, and that there's a oh gosh, now I'm forgetting the name of it. An intelligent haunting is basically that you can communicate back and forth with the spirit. There's intelligence there. They're responding to you. And
Yep.
there's another theory that basically says that it's just it's carrying the energy. And so sometimes when people see things, it can just be kind of like a tape rewinding and replaying itself.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Yeah. Of
the
the imprint
imprint.
of
Yeah,
the energy.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case with the Fort Henry itself too.
A lot of these
Yeah,
places.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially with that stone there, right? That stone tape theory. That's really cool. I also love this because I love this TV show. The TV show famously known for making ghost hunting popular, called Ghost Hunters, with Jason Hawes and
Yeah.
Grant Wilson. And actually, they've gone on to do many other things. But you can find all of their shows on the Discovery Plus, which I have because all of my paranormal shows are on there, so I'm on board.
Yeah.
They did an investigation in 2009 at the fort. You can actually watch that episode online as well if you just Google ghost hunting. The ghost hunting episode, I think it's season 7 or season 5 episode. No, season 5 episode 17, I think. If anybody's wanting to go check it out.
Writing it down because I'm going to watch YouTube later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And during their investigation, similar to the girly ghost hunters, doors also slammed shut. Jason expressed that he felt very nauseous in a section of the building. I forget where it is. I don't know if it was in the barracks or where, but he just felt super nauseous. So much so that he had to leave, and he felt immediately better afterwards. And Amy, I don't know if that's happened to you, if you have been in a location and you just kind of have felt kind of sick or nauseous.
Yeah, I have.
I don't know what you think. I just think it's
Yeah.
like the energy that I think something is coming through or manifesting. I think we're just kind of picking up on it. But what do you?
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I believe that too, and I also, it's interesting because as my my abilities were kind of manifesting in a bigger way, I will say, or like it was before I was even consciously like intentionally doing this work, but like things were leading up to it. So yes, I would feel that way, but I also would feel that way, say if it was almost this foreboding feeling, like that something was about to happen. And so I would get a sick feeling in my stomach. I actually remember I thought I was going crazy at this time. This is one of those experiences I really did think I was going crazy. We're at the mall and we were like in the food court and we were going to get food, but I had this strong, it came on out of nowhere. It was like, we were just going about our day. And then all of a sudden I went, we have to get out of here. We have to get out of here right now. And my husband was like, what are you talking about? I was like, get the kids. We're getting out of here right now. Because I felt immediately sick to my stomach and I felt like the blood just
rushing through you.
Like rushed. And I thought, I just have to get out of here. I don't know what it is. I mean, I was kind of, we did. He was like, okay. Like, if you say we're going. So we did. And I was kind of anticipating, like, are we going to get news that something bad happened? Like, was there something going on there? Nothing ever came about it, but I just had this feeling. You never know. You never know, like, why I had that feeling. Like, who knows? Sometimes I'm like, what if, like, one of the kids would have, like, wandered off? Like, who knows? It was almost like something was telling me, get yourself out of here right now. And so I did. That doesn't happen very often to me, but when I do,
you listen to it.
I listen. I listen. It doesn't scare me anymore per se. Like, it didn't come in with fear. It was just like, get out of here. That neutral, intuitive voice. Get out of here.
Don't go. Well, it's like that time. Remember, I was messaging you about it at like almost like right after it happened, because I've never experienced anything like that. But I was on my way to work, and I literally felt like I was having a panic attack. I was like, I couldn't breathe. I felt nauseous, so much so that I was like, you know what? I don't know why, but I'm gonna call in sick. So I don't know why. I did. I didn't hear anything.
And I remember talking about that with you, and I was like, maybe something's trying to protect you from something happening. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, you're going to get in a wreck or something terrible like that, but it could just be like, hey, heads up. Like,
maybe tonight is a night you want to stay home. Yeah.
Whatever reason, right? It's like trying to Because I think that our body, especially if you are like open to listening to your body, especially because your body is, you know, that
Barometer.
that barometer, and it will tell you, right? Before you, sometimes even before mentally, usually before mentally.
Oh yeah.
Right. So yeah. So even people that aren't like actively doing this work or would say like, yeah, I'm open to energy, your body already is. Even if you don't think you are, your body
you're
already
picking
is.
up
And that's
on
where
it,
that
right?
the gut feelings come from. We all experience
Like
that. That's the energy.
I remember when Alex and I went to New York and we visited the 9/11 memorial site. I was not like nauseous. I felt dizzy, like so dizzy the whole time I was there. The whole time I was there. Not right away. I think it took about, but it didn't take much long. Like I had to sit down and I felt nauseous, and we didn't spend a ton of time there just because I was and I think it was just the energy of every, that such tragedy.
And also the energy of the event and the people, but also all the people that
Yes,
visit.
exactly. Yeah, I think I was just picking up on it, and yeah.
Just making sure that was not that wasp again, because I do not want to get stung.
Please, guys, come on.
There's a wasp for you.
Come on.
Please go away.
Well, and on that note, actually, investigators would say also too that your body is a really good way at detecting paranormal activity as well, and to trust your instincts.
Yep.
Two other investigators, Amy Brumi and Chris Williams, were in the officers' quarters at Fort Henry when they heard shuffling and footsteps. Again, similar to the girly ghost hunters, they would go and check out sorry? Wait, are we good? We're good. Okay.
Oh yeah, no,
sorry guys, we've been having so many technical difficulties too today that I'm like, oh my god, please tell me we're good. Maybe it's the spirits.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Similar to the girly ghost hunters, they had the similar experience with this cat and mouse games. They would hear shuffling, they'd go and follow it, and then in the other room there would be more noises. So eventually you can kind of see it too in the video. They sat down and they were like, okay, like enough of this chasing. Like you have to come closer to us. We got to know that you're real. And so they literally were like, if you're actually here, we need to hear a footstep. You need to come closer to us. And I think about a few seconds later, there was a tapping on the glass display case that was behind them. And there is no way that anybody could get in that display case. It is blocked off, so nobody could have gotten in. So they heard that tapping as they were asking for it. I'm just going to sort of wrap it up here, but when Jason and Grant were in the bakery room, again, where the girly ghost hunters were, so I loved that I watched these two episodes back and forth because there were a lot of similarities. They actually saw the doors closing that were open, okay? And then when Grant asked for the doors to shut, and what seemed like a minute later, the door closed and latched shut. So not only did that door close, but it locked. On command when they asked for it. So that would, to me, I would say that's an intelligent haunt. So that was, that's pretty cool. And I think even one of the other investigators, there's stories of like seeing lights, and I think one of the investigators saw these like kind of phantom lights appear. There's like shadows. Somebody saw a shadow moving across. So a lot of really, really cool stuff. I didn't get to the end, so I'm not sure if they caught any like audio or EVPs, but gonna have to find out and check it out if they do.
I love it. So if you've noticed,
I know, I keep seeing you, and I'm like, I gotta rescue Amy.
There's wasps floating around, and I'm just like, get out of here, please. They're not here right now. I don't know. It is that time of year. I think they look for a place to go. So I'm like, do not build a nest in this house.
No, get
Thank
him.
you very much. I want to escape the room and end, but I just also want to tell you that there is a place in Kingston called Skeleton Park. Okay. And it is a park in the city, and there's a playground there, and I take my kids there all the darn time. And it's an awesome park. They just actually renovated it. It used to be like the old school, like metal play structures from our childhood. And that's why I took the kids there, because I'm like, this is the classic childhood playground, but they've just renovated it to all new equipment. I just wanted to quickly tell you about that. So it was once a burial ground. It was called the Garrison Burial Ground, servicing the fort. Saint Frontenac, and the French traders who traveled through the area. Today, the official name is McBurney Park, but I've never ever heard anybody refer to that as Skeleton Park. And actually, the neighborhood is Skeleton Park. That's what everybody would call it.
Whoa.
They stopped any further burials in 1830, but it holds soldiers from the British and French and Indian battles from 1819, and also was a place to bury townspeople who died from the cholera epidemic that occurred. So it's estimated that the graveyard, and it's not a large park. It's not a large park. I don't know what the diameter of it, but really not a large park. So this is why it blows my mind. It's estimated that the graveyard held over 10,000 bodies since inception in 1654. And actually a few years ago, I don't know if this is like actually happened or if it was just kind of like a rumor thing, but apparently there's been times that the bones have resurfaced underneath the park. So it was abandoned in 1896. The city began to dig up the bodies to be moved elsewhere, but the people complained that there were rotting corpses. The rotting corpses smelled awful, and they also felt bad that the dead were being disturbed. So the city council had the land plowed over, burying all the headstones and then adding a layer of dirt. So this was in the late 1860s. So it says, today construction on upgrading the park is often halted when the workers unearth human remains. And I do feel like this happened recently. Quite often you can find headstones or bones that have leached up out. I don't like that word. Leached up out of the ground. Ooh. Any archaeological find requires that the work to be stopped to be determined. So this is coming from ghost.fandom.com. But it is believed, it's quite easy to believe that Skeleton Park is haunted. People have seen apparitions and clown figures. They have felt that they were being watched or followed, and often they have felt that they weren't wanted there. It is also said that the houses bordering the park, it's very interesting because my midwife's office is like when I had my last baby and I went to my midwife, the office is across the street from Skeleton Park, but it's easy. Sorry, the houses bordering the park experience a lot of paranormal activity. Objects are seen being moved on their own, lights going on and off, doors open and close, and apparitions have been seen. Children, mostly children, running around during the day and vanishing. These apparitions are known as record skips, meaning they continue to do something they did in life. I haven't heard that before.
Sounds similar to the...
And they do not see or hear anyone that is not dead with them. Their identities or the reason these children have died are unknown. It's been said that if you visit the park at night during a full moon, then you'll be able to see the full tombstones and the park will vanish. You will also be able to see spirits full of cuts and wounds. And they've also been said that they are aggressive spirits. Some ghosts here are quite aggressive. Some have physically hurt visitors and tourists, mostly on ghost tours. These spirits aren't record skips. They're live ghosts, meaning they can see, hear, and touch you.
See, they just sound like shitty ghosts. Another one. Those are just some they're just shitty people.
Like, shitty ghosts. Yeah, but the 10,000, I'm telling you, I will show you a picture of how big it is. It's not big. 10,000 bodies freaks me the frig out.
Oh my god, but can you just like imagine you're with your kids and then all of a sudden a skeleton hand just like pops out?
I bet like when they were doing the new park, like when they were putting the new playground in there, it took a really long time. And I think that, I mean, I'll have to do some research. Maybe I'll report this in our next episode. But I feel as if it took longer because they did find human remains. Because then they have to do a whole archaeological thing, right? I just had to share that though when she started talking about Kingston because it's a park that we frequent.
Kingston is just a haunted place.
Well, maybe that's why they do like there's a haunted walk here. It's called the Kingston Haunted Walk, and it seems like a lot of those ghost hunter places have come here. It's probably maybe why. But the limestone piece is the thing that I enjoyed the most. Whole episode. I'm like, dude, this is the limestone city. Like that's.
I know. I literally was like, I in the future, I want my house to either have some limestone in it. It's got to be burial limestone. Like I want a haunted house. I just want it filled with spirits, basically. I want to experience
all of the old homes. Yeah, like the old homes, the heritage homes, the downtown core that are still the original building. They're all made of limestone. So, yeah, I imagine there's a lot of the spiritual activity around these types. Who knows? Maybe this is why, like, you never know how the world works and how the universe works. But maybe there's a reason that I came to Kingston, and maybe it was because the
limestone was calling you.
Maybe it woke me up. Who the heck knows? I know that the city I'm from in Halifax is also military barracks, said to have hauntings, old buildings. Don't think they're made of limestone, but I don't know. I can figure that out. But still, you never know. Any cities that are very old and have a lot of history are very likely to have.
I think they're everywhere. I think they're everywhere. Yeah.
Oh, they're everywhere. Yeah, like I said, is there really a veil or?
Yeah, we're just here. We just can't see them.
They're just here. They're just here. Thanks, Erin. This was a wonderful one.
Oh, you're welcome, guys. I hope you continue to have a really great, spooktacular day. And I hope you enjoyed it as well. This is a lot of fun for Amy and I think I can speak for both of us when I can say we cannot wait to dive into more stories for y'all to share.
More stories to come. I'm going to now escape my wasp.
Get on out of there.
Have a wonderful day. Okay. Who needs I'm not afraid of ghosts. Wasps. I'm afraid of wasps. Yeah. Okay, everybody? Wasps. Watch the wasp will come back as
oh my god, wasp. No, that sounds worse. That sounds worse.
That's worse. Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
If you like what you're hearing, don't forget to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast and tune in each week as we dish on all things spiritual.
Don't forget to like, comment on what you would like to hear us talk about next, and subscribe.